guys, what is going on? This is your old pal CHH. So I've got some new Kino titles. I actually watched all these, so I'm going to talk to you about the films, how good they look, and things like that. Some of these, if not all of these, are already out. And there's one that I'm going to do a separate video on because technically it's not supposed to be out. I actually got my hands on Daylight, which is pretty cool. So that will be coming in a separate video down the road. But let's get started, guys. Like I said, I've got a stack of them. I'll give you my recommendations out of these, which ones I think are the best bang for the buck, and which ones I just enjoyed the most movie-wise. Coming up first, guys, we're actually going to go to the Kino cult line. We're going to the Godsend. This movie had a Blu-ray from Scream Factory, and I believe it was as part of those double packs. The Godsend, it's not bad. It's kind of like this, like, person comes into the family. Are they there to help? Are they a monster? Are they evil? That sort of thing. I'll read you the synopsis on the back of this. It says, a young couple shelters a pregnant woman traveling through the English countryside. When morning comes, she leaves behind her newborn child, Bonnie. The Marlowes make room in their family for the foundling. But as time passes, a series of tragedies befalls the other children, and the Marlowes begin to wonder if a monstrous bad seed is taking root in their home. This wasn't bad. It wasn't bad for an early 80s horror film. Definitely feels a little different from the rest, but I know this sounds weird, but it also feels like it should be part of a multi-pack. It has its moments, but The Godsend was fairly slow. Not a movie I would say is going to be a movie you watch multiple times per year. Could be one and done for some of you. Some of you could go back to this every couple years, but it's not bad either. I think that there probably is fans for this movie out there. The cool thing about this, though, is like the Kino cult line seems to be picking up a lot of titles that Scream Factory gave a little bit of love to, but not a whole lot. Like I said, some of these were multi-pack titles. So to have this and this, like, I gotta say, the slipcover and everything for this is really nice, part of that Kino cult line. And the Kino cult line actually has some titles I really like. I like the Kino cult line. This is number 27. It is Blu-ray, and it is a 1080p Blu-ray. It's not part of a new scan or anything. The thing that this has, and I believe this is new, is the new audio commentary with film historians Nathaniel Thompson, I believe. But I'll look on the back and we'll double check. I think it looked identical to the Scream Factory Blu-ray because I had the double pack. I believe it was identical picture quality-wise. So if that's important to you, you may want to just hold on to that. But there's an audio commentary by Howard S. Berger, Steve Mitchell, and Nathaniel Thompson, and there is the theatrical trailer. Definitely a movie see before buying. That's what I will say. I didn't hate it or even dislike it, but it's fine. It's fine. What do you want me to say? The Godsend is fine. It has its moments. It's also a little bit slow. But if you're a fan of the Kino cult line, like I said, it's cool to see this movie have its own individual release. Coming up next, guys, we've got Career Opportunities. This was one of the best movies from John Hughes I've ever seen. I had never seen Career Opportunities. Of course, I come from the horror world with actresses like Jennifer Connelly, obviously Creepers, which is my favorite Dario Argento film. Yes, Creepers, not Phenomena. I like the Creepers name. This was fantastic. It's all about this boy who's in his early adulthood. His dad wants him to get a job. He still wants to be Mr. Funny Bones and have fun, and he's free caring. And he gets a job being a night janitor at Target when this girl in town who comes from a very, very wealthy family, she feels misunderstood. She feels like her dad doesn't really care or listen to what she has to say. So as a form of revolting, she hides out in the Target when she was going to shoplift, but she didn't have the balls to do it, just to embarrass her dad because her dad thinks so highly of himself and his family. It was a form of rebellion, and they have all this fun at night in this Target store. It was super funny. I loved it. I liked the guy, Frank Whaley. Is that the name of the actor? He was awesome. I loved this movie. This was a great film. And this came out in 1991. So it's kind of like the tail end of that, 80s vibe and feel. Everything about this movie had that feel because, like, it's not like the 80s aesthetic goes away when 1990 hits. Really not till about 1994 do you start to see an actual change, in my opinion, in the tone of films and the look of films. But I loved it. I thought that Career Opportunities was so good. Jennifer was fantastic in this. God, she was great. I love Jennifer Connelly. And this was just fantastic. This looked really good, too. This is a 4K UHD. And the Blu-ray, again, as well, The Blu-ray as well has a new the new scan on it, and it looked fantastic. As a matter of fact, my wife wanted to finish watching it in the bedroom. We don't have a 4K in there, so the Blu-ray is actually in the bedroom Blu-ray player. Loved it. I thought this movie was so good. I think a lot of you probably like, Christian, you just now seeing career opportunities? Yes! But it was great. I loved it so much. This release is great. On here, you got audio commentary by the director, Brian Gordon, audio commentary by Chicago film critic and festival producer, Eric Childress, Crafting Criminals, interview with actors Dermot and Kieran Mulroney, Interior Night, director of photography, Donald McAlpine, on filming career opportunities and theatrical trailer. So there are some new features on here. There's 2 new interviews on here, which is great. I watched them, loved them. But yeah, this was fantastic. I highly recommend this release. It looked fantastic, and I think most of you are big fans of this. Next up, guys, we've got Sneakers. Now, I had never heard of this movie at all. Not even once have I ever heard of Sneakers. Why was I excited to see it, though? Because of this name right there, Dan Aykroyd. I love Dan Aykroyd. Any movies of his I get the chance to see, I see them because I'm such a big fan of his. I think Dan Aykroyd is a very versatile actor and doesn't get the credit he deserved. Sneakers was pretty good. Now, I'd never even heard of this movie. When did this come out? 92. And it's all about these guys getting together to do this really intense mission. They're led by Robert Redford, which again, with Robert Redford, of course, I knew who he is. I know who he is, but I couldn't tell you how many Robert Redford movies I've ever seen. Computer expert Martin Bishop heads a team of renegade hackers, including a former gadget wizard, young genius, and blind sound man, who are routinely hired to test security systems. But Bishop's past comes back to haunt him when government agents blackmail the Sneakers into carrying out a covert mission, tracking down an elusive black box. Along with his former flame, Bishop's team retrieves the box and makes a stunning discovery. The device can break into any computer system in the world. Yeah, this was it was one of those movies that I think was just meant for the general population when it came out. It's got a lot of great actors in it. It's got humor. It's got thrills, if you will. And it was just entertaining. I really enjoyed Sneakers. I would say this is a 4-star film. I don't know what it was about this movie. I never even heard of it. Maybe it was one of those things that kind of just came out at the time. You had your Harrison Ford action thrillers coming out at this time. This movie might have just got lost in the shuffle. Maybe it was sandwiched between movies that just did way better than them. But I don't know. I remember asking my dad about this, and he had never even heard of it either. I'm not saying it wasn't a big film, but I don't know. On here, we've got the audio commentary with director and co-writer Phil Alden Robinson and Lawrence Lasker and Walter Parks, which I did not listen to that, but there's another audio commentator with director, co-writer Phil Alden Robinson and the cinematographer John Lindley. The Making of Sneakers documentary, I did watch that. That was really good. And I think that was new for this, if memory serves, and theatrical trailer. This looked really good. As a 4K, I would give this a 9 out of 10. And again, these all come with Blu-rays, so if you're not a 4K person, sometimes they have actual Blu-ray releases for these, and sometimes they just put out the 4K, and it'll have the Blu-ray in here. But I do recommend this movie. It was good. If you're like me, and you've seen a lot of 90s films, but for some reason never heard of that, go for it. Next up, guys, we've got Chris Farley and David Spade in Black Sheep. Now, if you're like me, you love Chris Farley films. What's not to love about Chris Farley films? I loved this movie. This and Tommy Boy are like the 2 movies that I think about when I think of like Chris Farley, and I naturally think of David Spade too. I think I like Tommy Boy a little bit more, but Black Sheep was really funny. The whole shenanigans of him and his brother running for office, and he's just a mess. He ruins everything. The scene where he drives that van under the tarping in front of the theater in the beginning and just scrapes all the bulbs off is painful to see, especially because I love movie theaters. But I thought that this movie was fantastic. Here's the thing. This movie looked really good, too. The problem is there's nothing on here. I mean, there's an old audio commentary by the director, Penelope Spheris, and a theatrical trailer. It's not like I thought they would, get... Like Chris Farley's passed away. It would have been nice to have something from David Spade in here, but also, probably... I don't know how much it would cost to track him down, or even if he could have just said no, I don't know. But... This is definitely a wait for a sale release. Absolutely a wait for a sale release. It looked really good for what it's worth, but again, the thing about some of these movies, it's like it looks really great, but does it actually improve the movie? I would argue with something like this, not necessarily. You know, when I talk to you about Black Sheep, I'm never going to bring up in the conversation necessarily like, dude, you've got to see how funny that movie looks on 4K. No, it'll just be, that movie is funny. I love this scene. I love this scene. That's the thing about some of these comedies. I don't know. Like, I thought Sneakers actually looked incredible in 4K, and it was so cinematic, and it worked. This movie, it is funny how good it looks in 4K, but it doesn't really do anything, in my opinion, to make the movie better. So, definitely worth owning, but wait for a sale. That's what I'll say on that one. Next up, guys, we've got my favorite comedian of all time, Chvy Chase, with Goldie Hawn in Foul Play. I love this movie so much. This is classic Chvy Chase. This was late 70s. This was 1978. Chevy and Goldie were like a match made in heaven. I know that Goldie is, you know, partners with Kurt Russell, has been for many, many years. I just don't think they ever got married. But I thought the chemistry with Chevy and Goldie was even better than the movies like Overboard, for instance, with Kurt Russell. But this movie is hysterical. Goldie is honestly hysterical. This is just classic. This is a classic comedy. I could not, make sure my computer doesn't fall asleep. Could not recommend this movie enough. Again, I can't sound hypocritical, but this is the same thing. Looks absolutely fantastic. I would give this and Black Sheep, again, 9 out of 10s in terms of the quality. But with comedies, it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, it looks good, but that's not the thing you're going to say when talking to somebody about this movie. You're always going to want to go to the humor and things like that. With horror and even action films, you could argue that the picture quality is very important. But this, it's like, I loved how it looked. It looked incredible, but it's never going to be at the forefront of the conversation. But here's the cool thing. Foul Play, I don't even know. I'm sure it might have gotten a Blu-ray. I think I own an old Snapper Case DVD of it, if memory serves. I know it's no better than a DVD. So seeing it look this good is great. But, you know, just seeing it, if this was a Blu-ray, I probably wouldn't have complained either way, to be honest with you. But it did have a new feature. There's Fair Play, Remembering Colin Higgins. That's the new feature that they have on here. The other stuff they have on here is the audio commentary by entertainment journalist Brian Reisman and Max Every, theatrical trailer, TV, and radio spots. It's weird, those radio spots, you don't see them a whole lot in special features no more, but it always, I like radio spots. Radio spots are actually fun for me to go back and listen to as opposed to trailers. So, again, there you have it. It has the 4K and the Blu-ray with it if you want to get that. Like I said, sometimes they'll actually have separate Blu-ray releases, so if you want to check for that, please do. For instance, like I got, there's that movie Turbulence with Ray Liotta, which is fantastic. It got a brand new release, but it got a Blu-ray as well as a 4K release, and I picked up the Blu-ray release for that. Check that with this. All right, guys, we got a couple more. This one I'll be brief about. Sea of Love. I really wanted to love this movie. It was just way too silly for me. It was like this weird avant-garde type of thriller movie, but it just came across hokey to me the entire time. Pacino was good, and it's not like there's any bad performances. I was super excited to see this because of John Goodman, who I love, one of my favorite actors. I'm a huge John Goodman fan. This tone-wise, I needed something way more intense than what this offered. It was kind of funny. It was kind of a comedy. Obviously, it's an intense thriller with like these guys getting picked off one by one, almost like Cruising in a sense. Except instead of like the gay nightclub thing, this is just this woman who seems to be, you know, getting hired by all these guys, if you get what I'm saying. And then these guys are all wiped out. But what's really going on? Of course, I'm not going to spoil it. But yeah, in my head, this movie was way different, and this was not what I was expecting. So maybe down the road I can go back and enjoy this, but yeah, I don't know. It wasn't what I was really wanting it to be, so maybe I can't fault it too much. With that being said, it looked fantastic. It actually looked really, really good. Super cinematic, too. I'd probably give this one like a 9.5 out of 10. There is a new feature on here, The Creation of Sea of Love featurette. Audio commentary by Harold Becker. Audio commentary by Howard Berger, Steve Mitchell, and Nathaniel Thompson. Deleted scenes and 2 theatrical trailers. Again, see if this has a Blu-ray if you're interested. But again, a sale, wait for the sale. And this is the one where I'm going to disappoint everybody, probably. I did not enjoy this movie whatsoever. With that being said, this is probably the best looking 4K out of all of them that I've seen. Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. I was so excited to watch this movie. I love movies with mafia and gang warfare and all that stuff. And I thought Andy Garcia is a great actor, but this movie just did not do anything for me. I was bored out of my ass watching this. Even seeing the great Christopher Walken, which when I remember looking on the back, I was super excited to see him. Still, I did not like this movie. I don't know what to say. It just did not work for me whatsoever. I was genuinely bored watching this film. And the irony is, this is the release I'd probably recommend the most out of all these because it actually had a lot of new features, and I'll tell you guys about them on the back. Of course, there's the audio commentary with director Gary Felder and Scott Rosenberg, audio commentary with Daniel Creamer. Things to Direct in Denver When You're Dead, an interview with the director. Things to Perform in Denver When You're Dead, an interview with Andy Garcia. Things to Write in Denver When You're Dead, interview with screenwriter Scott Rosenberg. And Things to Design in Denver When You're Dead, interview with production designer Nelson Coates, production featurettes, and theatrical trailers. It's weird, right? Like, I did not love this movie at all, but I'd say out of all of these, this one has the most bang for your buck. It looked fantastic, and there's great new features on here. So this is one I would recommend getting sooner rather than later. While the rest of these, there's none of these I would say don't buy any of them. A lot of these, though, I think you could wait for a sale. That's what I'll say about that. So that's the new titles I wanted to talk to you guys about. The one movie I didn't like at all, I got to be honest to say the bang for your buck is the best in that one. But out of the rest of these, I got to say Career Opportunities was a home run. I just loved this movie so much, and I'm definitely going to watch that again very soon. But that's my new Kino update, guys. I'll do more soon. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts on those titles down below, and I'll see y'all next time. Take care. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.